Assalamu alaikum, brothers, and welcome back to the Household Anchor. Today, we are dismantling a toxic cultural dynamic that destroys marriages from the inside out. We are talking about financial enmeshment, emotional blackmail, and the weaponization of family ties to crush a wife's spirit. When a man confuses weakness with obedience, he loses his authority, his wife's trust, and his own dignity. Let's get right into today's letter. Assalamu alaikum. I desperately need an unfiltered Islamic perspective. I have been married for 3 years, and my mother's emotional interference is suffocating my marriage. I feel like a coward, and I don't know how to fix it. When we got married, I purposely rented an apartment 30 minutes away from my parents to ensure we had our own space. I thought physical distance would prevent any typical in-law drama. I was wrong, because the control just became financial and emotional. In the first year, my mother would call me and ask about my finances. She wanted to know my exact salary, how much our rent was, and how much we were spending on groceries. I thought I was just being a transparent, respectful son, so I gave her the numbers. But she used that information as a weapon. If my wife bought new curtains or upgraded our blender, my mother would interrogate me about the cost. She would make passive-aggressive comments to my wife, saying things like, "In my day, we didn't bleed our husbands dry for luxury items." When my wife looked at me for support, I just looked down and later told her, "My mother is just frugal. Don't take it personally." By the second year, the emotional blackmail escalated. I took my wife out for a nice dinner to celebrate a small promotion at work. My wife innocently posted a picture of the food on her social media. The next morning, my mother called me, weeping. She told me I was wasting money on a woman while my own family was struggling. Brother, my father is a wealthy man who provides for my mother perfectly. There is no struggle. But she made me feel so incredibly guilty that I ended up sending her a large sum of money just to soothe her ego. After that, my mother started openly humiliating my wife at family gatherings. She would constantly compare her to my brother's wives, making loud, snide remarks about my wife's cooking, her family background, and how expensive her tastes were. My wife would sit there silently, holding back tears. On the car ride home, she would beg me to defend her. I kept using the same excuse. She is my mother. Paradise is at her feet. I cannot disrespect her. Just bear it for my sake. Because of my inaction, my wife started dreading family events, and her spirit completely broke. The absolute breaking point happened this past month. I had promised my wife a trip to Turkey for our 3-year anniversary. We had saved up quietly for months, and everything was booked and non-refundable. 2 days before our flight, my mother found out. Almost immediately, she called the family group chat and announced a mandatory large family gathering at her house for the exact same weekend. She called me and demanded we cancel our trip to come help her cook and host the extended family. When I gently told her that the tickets were non-refundable and we couldn't cancel, she went nuclear. She screamed that I had abandoned my blood. She accused my wife of manipulating me, calling her a snake who was trying to sever my family ties. She then called all my aunts and uncles, playing the victim, saying my wife had forbidden me from seeing my own mother. Now, it is a complete disaster. My wife is completely shattered. She says she feels utterly unprotected and has refused to be around my family ever again. Meanwhile, my uncles are calling me non-stop, applying massive pressure. They are telling me that I am a disobedient son and that to keep the peace, I must force my wife to go to my mother's house and apologize. Brother, I am furious. I know my wife did absolutely nothing wrong, but my family is telling me that a real man controls his wife and forces her to apologize to the elders to maintain family ties. I feel like a massive coward if I force my innocent wife to apologize for existing, but I am terrified of being a disobedient son if I don't fix this rift. What is the standard of a Muslim man here? How do I end this? Brother, and to everyone watching who are trapped in this exact same cycle of guilt, listen closely. You feel like a coward because, respectfully, brother, you have acted like one. Let us look closely at how you lost control of your household and exactly how you are going to take it back. Your biggest and most fundamental mistake was believing that appeasement is the same thing as respect. By giving your mother unrestricted access to your finances, and by staying silent while she publicly humiliated your wife, you showed immense weakness. Because of this weakness, you have lost the respect of both women. Your wife looks at you and sees a weak man who refuses to be her shield. She is shattered because she realizes the man who is supposed to protect her from the world won't even protect her from his own family's slander. And your mother? She looks at you and sees a weak son who can be easily manipulated with tears and guilt trips. Weak men do not command respect. You have trained your family to walk all over your marriage. Think logically. Your uncles are telling you that a real man forces his wife to apologize to keep the peace. Look at the facts. Your wife saved up for an anniversary trip, minded her own business, and your mother responded by fabricating a crisis and calling your wife a snake to the entire family. Let me ask you, would Allah be pleased with you for validating this kind of slander? Allah commands us in the Quran to be spouses who act as garments for one another. A garment protects you from the harshness of the outside elements. It preserves your honor. When your mother mocked your wife's background at the dinner table, and you stared at your shoes, how were you being her garment? What your mother and your uncles are demanding is direct oppression. Zulm. How did you convince yourself that Allah, the most just, would want you to support injustice just because the perpetrator is your mother? Does that sound logical to you? You are letting your family weaponize the deen against you. You must stop allowing yourself to be misguided by cultural traditions disguised as religion. If we return to the authentic sources, using the Quran as our ultimate baseline and the authentic ahadith for the strict legal rulings, the path is crystal clear. Under Islamic law, your wealth is your own to spend on your family as you see fit. Your mother has no Islamic right to audit your grocery bills or your wife's curtains. Furthermore, the general scholarly consensus clearly states that forcing an innocent person to apologize for a sin they did not commit is an act of oppression. There is absolutely no obedience to parents when they command you to oppress another human being. Keeping the peace at the expense of justice is not Islamic manhood. It is cultural cowardice. You are paralyzed by your uncle's phone calls. Let me tell you how to stand up, be the mountain, and reclaim your sovereignty. Step 1. You apologize to your wife. You look her in the eye and admit you failed to protect her honor. You tell her the trip to Turkey is happening, and you will handle the fallout. Step 2. You cut the information supply line. From this day forward, your mother gets 0 details about your salary, your purchases, or your travel plans. You give her love, you give her respect, but you do not give her your financial ledger. This information is something private and something personal to you and your wife. You should never share this with anyone, including your parents and siblings. And when it comes to your salary, nobody should know exactly how much you're making. Keep it to yourself. There are all kinds of ways that this information can be used against you. Look at your situation now. Never tell anyone your salary. And keep your expenses between you and your wife. Even your kids shouldn't know how much you're spending. You should teach them how to budget. Of course. But do it the right way. There is no transparency when it comes to financial matters. Not with your extended family. And yes, your wife and kids are your family. Everyone else, and I mean everyone, is your extended family. No exceptions. Step 3. You act like the anchor. You answer your uncle's calls, and with a calm, unshakable voice, you say, "My wife did not disrespect my mother. My wife will not be apologizing because she has done nothing wrong. I love my mother, but I will not allow my wife to be slandered." 8. Step 4. You take the heat. They will be furious. Your mother will cry. They will call you a lost cause. You do not argue. You do not raise your voice. You simply hold the line. You are the shield now. You absorb the arrows so your wife doesn't have to. Ask your uncles the same logical questions I am asking you. Ask them to put themselves in your wife's shoes. Would they apologize for a sin they have not committed? If not, then why should your wife? If they still insist, be firm. Tell them that it's not happening. And if they don't like it, they can deal with it like real men. Brother, true bir al-walidain, dutifulness to parents, is serving them with excellence, not allowing them to earn sin by oppressing others. Be a dutiful son, but be a fierce, unyielding protector of your wife. If this analysis sharpened your perspective, hit the subscribe button and stand with us. Send your specific challenges, stories, or situations to thehouseholdanchor@gmail.com. Total anonymity is always guaranteed. Let me know how you would handle this emotional blackmail in the comments. Keep your frame, hold your boundaries, and be the anchor of your household. Assalamu alaikum.